If it's Monday night, oh yes, it is ridiculously raw. Hello, friends. It's the ridiculously over gentleman Anthony Fleur here, and oh my, a week ago we had a dumpster fire of a show. Not this week. Oh no, not this week. We were back to the interesting and newsworthy Monday Night Raws that we've had a lot of this year, and oh boy, was it very interesting and newsworthy from start to finish. Yeah, there were some cutouts and whatnot, but not as many as last week. And whoa, what just happened just a moment ago? One of the best things I've seen on that show in a long time. Let me tell you that right now. And I'm going to have a lot of positive things to say about what we just saw at the end. Believe me. So, with all that being said, I do have one elephant in the room to address. Our first lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Didi Whitson, unfortunately will not be joining us this evening. She has taken ill. She had I guess we could say she had a relapse of her of a migraine headache that she had some time ago. She felt it again, and she messaged me saying that she wouldn't be joining us this evening. So so no Didi Woodson tonight. And as far as Michael Bullock goes, he's running late this time around. He said he told me he had plans and he was going to be late for the show. As soon as he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed and the whole 9 yards. So for now, it's myself along with good old MF Michael Fletcher, the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk. And I mean, a week ago, Monday Night Raw, as you guys we all know, we saw the worst Monday Night Raw 2017 by a country mile. Dumpster fire of a show. Cutouts ruled the roost. There was only like, what, 2 or 3 good things on that show last week? I think there were only like 2 or 3 cutouts on the show this week. So major improvement. So let's get down to business here. Raw was live tonight from the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana, on the USA Network. And we started it off with the big segment that was going to be on this show. Roman Reigns. He was going to announce his intentions for SummerSlam. What could it have been? Was he going to go after John Cena? Was he going to go after Bill Goldberg because of some dirt sheets that came out? No to either. Roman Reigns said it clear and to the point. I'm challenging the winner of Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. Good segment. But then it was interrupted by Samoa Joe. I forgot to mention, but now I'm good. Good segment. Not crazy. Joe sell for anyone heading into a match with Brock Lesnar. But the night is young, and maybe he got the last laugh. You don't know. Reigns proclaiming himself the number 1 contender for SummerSlam is interesting. If it sticks and he faces Brock Lesnar, it would seem to signify a change in the heavily rumored WrestleMania plans, unless they go back to the match again. Of course, there's also a chance that Braun Strowman could come back and somehow take that contender spot from Reigns. You never know, but and then it would set up a match for later in the evening, Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe, which we will address later in the evening because what a match they had. So yeah, Roman Reigns says he wants the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. Simple as that. So, all right, MF, come on in. Let's bring you on in. Let's get your thoughts on this. Roman Reigns making the announcement. He wants the Universal Championship at SummerSlam, but Samoa Joe had other ideas.
Yes, indeed. Definitely a great way to start the show, and no doubt about it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say it like this. We didn't know what to expect with Roman Reigns, with everything that was going on, the hype, the excitement, the whole 9 yards. Well, good for him. He wants to become the champion. All right, that's fine with us. You get your moment. You'll get your opportunity. It's just, will you deliver in the clutch? Will you deliver in that big thing? And we'll wait and see what happens. But it was definitely a solid segment. I loved how the segment started. It was very good, to say the very least. And then, yeah, once you got that core moment in there, it really affected or really played out something really good. So yes, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very solid to start, Monday Night Raw, and it had a really good flow to it. You know, for Roman Reigns to do the open challenge and say, I'm going after the Universal Championship, it kind of was like a rolling of the eyes type moment. Like, really, Roman? Really? Okay, fine. But I think after what we saw later in the evening, I think everything is definitely going to be changing a little bit. But, we'll see what happens then. But yeah, this was definitely solid. I liked it. Great way to start Raw. Anthony, let's move on.
All right. And we move on to our first match of the evening. And we will get into this because this was a good match. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff, they went up against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 35 seconds. The Hardys, Jeff with the Swanton Bomb on the win. So, MF, we started off with you here. The Hardys back on track after losing their tag team titles a couple weeks ago to Sheamus and Cesaro. And, of course, that very good main event with the cop-out finish there. No doubt they're on a collision course, maybe for Great Balls of Fire, but a solid tune-up for the Hardys. They knock off Gallows and Anderson in what I thought was a solid match. And green beans for everyone, baby.
Yes, green beans for everyone. And yes, I guess I'll do it. I'll do it because with the Hardy win, Anderson and Gallows, well, they fade away and classify themselves as obsolete.
Obsolete, yes.
So, I mean, there's nothing more to say about that. Yeah, solid fight. 2.5 to about 2 3/4, maybe 3 stars, but I think 3 stars is kind of flirting, cutting with it. But this was definitely a good match. Solid action. Everybody played their part really well. And definitely the Hardys needed the win back, definitely more than anything else, just to give them at least a little momentum. So, like I said, solid performance, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
I only wish Bullock were here because you know how much he loves the green bean shtick as much as I do. Man, we've missed doing that for the last couple of weeks, but nonetheless, I agree with MF's rating for the most part. 2 3/4. That's what I will give it. I'll give it 2 3/4 of a star. It was definitely one of the fights of the night, not the fight of the night, but one of the top matches of the night. No question about it. Jeff with the blind tag. Gallows didn't see it. Pulls Matt in. Matt escapes. Twist of fate, and that was it. 2 3/4 of a star. Nice false finish and a pretty good match. It was a good tag match. This would have been a dream tag match not all that long ago. And it continues to be a shame that WWE hasn't done more with Anderson and Gallows. Fortunately, they are getting it right with the Hardys, despite not having access to the broken universe yet, anyways. Even though if you saw that thing on the WWE Network, that sit-down interview that the Hardys had with Corey Graves, well, that's all I can say on that. So, all right. Then we moved on. I think, well, actually, we have our first cutout of the evening. Elias Sampson, the Drifter, in the ring. You know, he was getting ready to do his little guitar bit, but he was interrupted by the Demon King, Finn Balor. Yes, Finn Balor back after a few weeks. Thank goodness. And but it was not Finn Balor against Elias Sampson. It was Finn Balor against Bo Dallas. Yeah, Bo Dallas is back. And well, let's just say he definitely looks like his brother Bray Wyatt, no doubt about it. He's got that Wyatt family kind of look now, which I think is pretty cool. But anywho, Bo Dallas against Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins it 3.5 minutes. The coup de grace, or as our friend Luigi PS3 calls it, the coup de grace. You know how much I love her. Love you, Luge. But yeah, no rating to a dud here. Dallas looks better, worked an aggressive style. He was actually one of the wrestlers who was a part of that Joe and Lesnar brawl last week. I always felt that they could have done more with his NXT persona that Bo brought to the main roster, and things just seemed to spiral downward when they didn't deliver creatively. There's no telling what they have in mind, but Bo's darker look and more aggressive ring work could make him a good fit with his brother Bray Wyatt, and that's really all we can say on that. So that's a cutout there. So no rating to a dud as far as I'm concerned. So great to see Finn Balor back, by the way. So, all right. Then we had Seth Rollins coming out. Seth Rollins, of course, plugging the announcement. Of course, this morning on SportsCenter, if you didn't see it, Seth Rollins made the announcement that he is going to grace the cover of the brand new WWE 2K18 video game that's going to be coming out later this year. But he was then interrupted by Bray Wyatt. More stuff with these two. And all I can say is this was a good verbal exchange. This was much better than last week. I continue to like the way Rollins speaks directly to the fans. I wouldn't want to see every babyface take this approach, but it stands out because he's the only guy doing it on Raw. Meanwhile, Bray Wyatt was not just spouting lines. In this case, he was really good in playing off of things that Rollins said. And while talking specifically about him, I couldn't have been more apathetic about this feud last week, but they definitely changed that with this exchange. And there's no question about it. MF, as I bring you on in, there's no doubt about it. These two are also on a collision course for Dallas, and I think we're going to see these two throw down at great balls of fire. And if we do, I'm expecting a damn good match.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be a good match. I mean, Wyatt has been up and down, inconsistent all season long, but I will say this. First off, congratulations to Seth Rollins, Seth frickin' Rollins, being the one to be gracing the cover of the WWE 2K18 video game. Huge honor for him. And then and at the end of the day, you just have to handle the business and see what's going to happen. And, I'm happy for him. I think he deserves it. I think he more than is worthy enough of the spot. And then once you go into the promo, it was solid. I think it was one of their better works. I really liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. And yeah, I love Bray Wyatt and his promo work, but Rollins also is good in the promo work as well. So this is two good talkers who could really do some work, who could really make somebody feel interested in a fight. It's just, will it come off perfectly at the end of the game, in the end game? We got to wait and see, because remember, there was a lot of great promo work leading into Orton versus Wyatt at WrestleMania. Then we had a dumpster fire on our hands. So hopefully they'll learn to do the right thing, and let's hope and pray we don't get another dumpster fire between Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt. It looks good on the surface. It looks good on paper. But can they deliver it in the clutch? Remains to be seen. Florio, it's yours.
Okay, let's see what we have next. All right, cruiserweight action, and we're definitely going to get into this because, last week the cruiserweights had a bad week, 2 bad matches, but this was not a bad match by any stretch. Akira Tozawa versus TJP. Winner of the match in 10.5 minutes. Hey, Akira Tozawa picks up the win. So, MF, I think we have a new number 1 contender for your boy Neville, as he took out your other boy TJP. Ha!
Yeah, I mean, okay, I can get it. I don't have a problem with it. It's a great victory. Nice win for Tozawa. Very proven. Well done. Okay, Perkins does lose the fight, but you're also forgetting the elephant in the room. What the bleep is Titus O'Neil doing out there? What's the purpose? Is he trying to recruit Tozawa to join the crew, to join him with Apollo Crews and build this empire? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I saw it last week on Monday Night Raw. Tozawa wants nothing to do with this crew. He's actually trying to convince Apollo Crews, get out, get out, get out. We've seen this story, this song and dance before. Even Tozawa looked confused, like, what are you doing? I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't get it. I don't like it. Something smells fishy and smells funny and whatever. Say, Florio, go.
Did you give a rating for that bout, MF, or did I miss it?
Yeah, I actually missed it. I'll give it like 2.5 stars.
Another 2 3/4 for me. This was a really good cruiserweight match. I mean, solid action. I mean, I definitely agree about the whole Titus thing. I mean, I should have made this point last week, but I'm not going to mess it up again this week. MF, I know you'll agree with me on this. Titus O'Neil, is it just me, or is he just as much of a pain in the ass as Famous B in Lucha Underground? Goodness gracious. I don't know who's the bigger pain in the ass. Good grief. But nonetheless, I mean, Titus O'Neil, like I said, he is just as annoying, if not more annoying than Famous B in Lucha Underground, someone MF knows very well. And just my opinion. But nonetheless, like I said, this was a very good match. I mean, they worked a good style match. I mean, this is something I would have loved to have seen on 205 Live. And they're definitely positioning Tozawa as the next contender for Adrian Neville in the Cruiserweight Championship. And I think we're going to see that as part of Great Balls of Fire on July the 9th in Dallas. So, and Adrian Neville was out there on commentary, and he cut one of his scathing, screaming promos that Michael Bullock loves so much. Yeah, right. We know Bullock doesn't like his screaming promos, but nonetheless, I mean, very good match, and much better than that nonsense that we had last week with the Cruiserweights, those two matches. So that's really all I can say on that. So now we move on to our next match, and it's very surprising that they didn't have this as the main event, but nonetheless, we got it right here and then. The big dog, Roman Reigns, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. Winner of the match in 18 minutes and 5 seconds. It's Samoa Joe with the Coquina clutch after a distraction by, guess who's back, boys? Roar! Braun Strowman. Yes, Braun Strowman. Showed up in an ambulance, opened the doors from it, and then after the match, he goes back in to tell Roman, I ain't finished with you yet. And at Great Balls of Fire, one more time, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. Whoa. Okay. Fight of the night, no doubt about it. 3.5 to 4 stars. But man, Evansville, tough crowd tonight. The guys worked a really nice match, and while there were pockets of fans who seemed into it, there were a lot of other fans who just seemed to sit on their hands for a good portion of the bout. This was not a big fight atmosphere, despite the wrestlers doing their part, especially during the second half of the match. I'm cool with Joe winning by distraction after having such a competitive match with Reigns. Yes, Roman was on the verge of hitting the big move, but we'd already seen Joe kick out of some of his big moves and avoid others. So it came off like a foregone conclusion that Reigns was going to win had it not been for Strowman. So we're finally getting the Reigns-Strowman ambulance match. Strowman's return was solid, but I was actually hoping for more carnage and less talk. Great Balls of Fire has a really nice 1-2 punch with Lesnar, Joe, and now Reigns and Strowman in the ambulance match. It'll be interesting to see if they announce that the winner of the ambulance match gets the shot at the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. A lot to digest there. So, oh man. So 3.5 to 4 stars. This was most definitely the fight of the night, hands down. So, MF, I bring you on in. Samoa Joe with a big win. Think about Great Balls of Fire. Look at this double main event. We got not one, but 2 Be a Man fights now. Whoa.
Yeah, we do. There's nothing more to say about it. The shocker of shockers, the return of Braun Strowman sooner than expected. And now he's going to fight Roman Reigns in an ambulance fight. Oh my goodness, what a match that's going to be. But no doubt about it, fight of the night, 3.5 stars for me. This was excellent. Well done by everybody involved. The pacing of the match was good. The look of the fight was good. I love the back and forth between Joe and Reigns, so we knew we were going to get something pretty good. But normally, like you said, big men fight, they're slow, they're plotting, but they really kept a good pace. There was very good storytelling in this, which was more shocking than anything else. And no, I was very enthralled with this performance. Nothing more to say. Fight of the night, hands down. Florio, let's move on to the next night.
Man, oh man. And then we move on to a Miz TV segment. Miz's guest, his wife, Maryse. it was basically Miz trying to apologize and trying to get out of the Maurice doghouse. But then he was interrupted by Dean Ambrose. And Miz pulled Maurice in front of him, causing her to spill champagne on herself. The grandfather clock got ruined again. Maurice slaps Miz. She leaves. And then we see two men in bear costumes. We're thinking, oh, Jesus, it's probably going to be two Hammerneggers. Oh, no. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Whoa, okay. So, MF, for the first time in seemingly forever, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are actually relevant again.
Yeah, I guess. That was kind of weird, to say the very least. The Mid Me segment was all right, I guess. I don't really think of anything else, but dude, Miz, bro, oh man, I don't know what to say at this point in the game. I mean, holy hell, you're digging yourself your own grave, man. I can't help you at this point in the game. I can't help you. Can't help you. You're digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into trouble, and you're gonna hit the rock bottom real soon, man. But it might be too late. You're gonna lose your girl. You're losing your girl. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you lose Maurice, there's somebody who's right beside me who's more than willing to console that baby girl in a heartbeat. So I don't know what to say, man. I mean, this is bad. This is real bad. As far as Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, I mean, all right. I don't know why or what I'm looking at with them two. Are you just plants? Are you just there just for the hell of it? But I don't know. I kind of don't really give to what's about them two. Ambrose still playing the funny ha-ha side, trying to cause all the friction, driving that wedge even deeper and deeper. So, no, this was a good segment. There's just certain elements I just didn't really care too much about. Sorry. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, I understand, MF. The good news is that creative finally found something for Dallas and Axel, and WWE is doing wonders for the grandfather clock industry. The bad news is that the Miz and Ambrose feud will never end. So that's pretty much the only conclusion that we got out of this. And you're so right about me, being the knight in shining armor from Maurice. I mean, you remember last night during our Money in the Bank recap, MF, I told you about the love affair I used to have with Maria Kanellis, or the crush I used to have on that beauty. She wasn't the only one. I also had a thing for Maurice too, and I still do to this day. Still do. I mean, oh boy, nowadays, oof. I still think they're going to be splitting her up, and I still think that down the road they're going to add Maurice to the women's division, which I think would be a welcome addition because she is a former multi-time Divas champion. So that's all I can say there, and one of the longest Divas champions of all time, way back when. So that's all I can say there. And speaking of Maurice, so you can catch her on the WWE Network, the outstanding show Table for Three, one of my favorite programs on that show, or I should say on that network. They had a special women's edition of that show tonight, and Maurice was joined by former champions in their own right, Kelly, who's a favorite of one of MF's cousins, his cousin Rich, who I know is a huge Kelly fan. I'm sure he is still to this day. And of course, the other one that MF had a huge thing for way back when, Eve Torres. Oh, Eve Torres, MF. I mean, I know how much you love that one. So check that out on the WWE Network. Maurice, Kelly, Eve Torres, Table for Three. One of the best damn shows on that network. So that's all I can say on that. So, all right. We move on. We got another cutout here. Raw Tag Team Champions, Sheamus and Cesaro against the Titus brand, Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. Sheamus and Cesaro win it in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Yeah, no rating to a dud. We're not going to waste our time on that. Then they had this video package previewing the Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, Great Balls of Fire Universal Championship match. very nice piece of production that gave the Lesnar Joe match the UFC style treatment. So well done. And then one more cutout here. Sasha Banks, Nia Jax. Yeah, we've seen this before. The women's division got crapped on yet again. Nia Jax wins it via disqualification, less than a minute. This was the worst fight of the night, hands down. All the women got involved. Emma showed up, Dana Brooke, Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, Bayley. I don't know. It's just craziness in the Raw Women's division right now. And then, now the main event of the evening, which ended up being the segment, the general manager Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle vowed to get to the bottom of the Enzo and Cass situation. And he called out the Revival. He called out the Big Show. Basically, accused them in the whole 9 yards. And Show was like, how could you do this to me after all the years we've known each other and all this good stuff? And if you're going to keep, accusing me of things I didn't do, I'm just gonna get up and leave. I mean, why should I even be a part of Raw anymore? So he just walks out. And then he says, all right, Revival, you have an alibi, so you're off the hook. But then, out of nowhere, from the broadcast booth, from the stage broadcast booth, comes Corey Graves. And Corey Graves says, Kurt, I think I can be of help here. I obtained some security footage, and what happened is, and then they show Big Cass backstage last week and faking his own attack. And Corey Graves said, and that Cass, nobody attacked you. You faked it, and you attacked Enzo. And then basically just like, 15 years ago with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Big Cass said, you damn right I did. Heel turn. The Big Cass heel turn has finally emerged. And, well, there's nothing left for me to say except this was a cut above the rest. This was the segment of the night. Okay, yes, it's an odd storyline. I get it. I'm not sure why they felt the need to position Corey Graves as the detective, but whatever. Big Cass showed solid fire in his explanation promo. Enzo looked sympathetic. The sad thing is that Enzo would probably be a really good heel mouthpiece for Cass, but now it looks like he'll be flying solo. And, well, let me just say it like this. That was one of the best heel turns I've seen in a while. I mean, maybe since Sheamus and Cesaro at Payback when they took out the Hardys, but this was well done. The promo was absolutely wonderful, scathing, perfect, absolutely ripped Enzo to shreds, and then he follows it up, takes him out with a big boot to end it, and yes, now Big Cass is going to be is obviously a heel now, which I think is wonderful. I think a heel turn is going to do him wonders. Now we're going to push him as a singles competitor, and look out. The sky is the limit for Big Cass. So that's all I can say about that segment of the night for me. I know I'm probably reaching on that, but I don't care. My opinion. That was well done. A plus. Well done, first class. So great heel turn. One of the best heel turns I've seen. One of the best singles heel turns I've seen in a while. And sky's the limit. So, MF, we knew this was happening. We knew this was coming.
Yep.
They finally pulled the trigger. Big Cass is a heel.
Well done. And they did a great job of disguising it in the whole 9 yards. You make people wonder, is it, could it have been the Revival? I really would have liked if it was the Revival actually as the original attackers and then do the heel turn later on, because you definitely could have but with the backstage footage, with all that stuff going on, I wonder why Corey Graves is the guy who is responsible for it, because what does that make him? I thought he was a heel commentator. Why is he now Professor Clouseau, Pink Panther style, or even Sherlock Holmes or James Bond? What is he? They're really giving him a bigger push, than anything else, and I don't get why Corey Graves got such a big thing more than anything else. So, but that's one minute little thing I want to complain about. But as far as the rest goes, with Big Show, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know what that angle is gonna be. Okay, fine. You weren't using them sparingly because of the fact that, that one of the guys did get hurt, had a broken jaw, so fine. Once they're not ready to get back in the ring yet, so fine. But we knew it was probably going to be Big Cass at the beginning, middle, and now that we got the payoff is perfect. I loved it. And you also felt sympathetic for Enzo too, and Enzo really pulled at the heartstring. Did you see how he was breaking down in tears? Did you see that tear that was coming down his face tonight?
Absolutely.
I mean, absolute sympathy by 1,000 for Enzo Amore, and I felt for Enzo, man, and that's because that's like a gut shot that just happened to him, man. That's his brother. That was a guy that he ride with from NXT for a number of years. They were together, and this happens, dude. My heart goes out to you, Enzo, man. But he really played the character, that sympathetic character, really well. If anybody did not feel horrible for Enzo, then you just got no bleeping soul. I'm just gonna say that. Big Cass, big monster heel, looking for the belt, looking for the money, for the prestige, the honor. He's played the character really well. I can't wait to see what Big Cass brings to the table as a heel. Like I said, everybody played their role so good, but especially tonight, the MVPs was Enzo and Cass. They both individually made me feel that they were believable. The shock, the stunned, the tears from Enzo, and the absolute rip job by Big Cass, saying that I was carrying you for all these years from NXT, WWE, and Tampa, the whole 9 yards. That your mouth was the reason why we got ourselves in trouble. You're the reason why we never got a championship, which maybe that is valid. But I'm on to bigger and better things. I want championships. I want the glory. You're just holding me back. That is classic heel 101, and they did it beautifully done. This is one of those rare times that I got to applaud the writers, but it wasn't just them, but Big Cass executed it so good that it made it believable. And that's the most important thing. We need things like that. If you're going to come out as a heel, you got to play the role correctly, and you got to make us hate your guts as a fan. That's what you got to do. That's how it plays out. And he did it. He got me hook, line, and sinker. And I cannot wait to see what we see down the line. Tremendous job by everybody tonight.
All right, MF, let's get your overall thoughts on this edition of Raw tonight. And I think we're in agreement here. It was far better than that dumpster fire last week.
Absolutely. I'm going to give this about 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 tonight. I thought this was a very good show. Like you said, there was a couple of cutouts, a lot less than last time out. And the thing was, it was storyline progression. They were going through the SmackDown playbook tonight. You got Roman Reigns, and now you got Roman Reigns and the return of Braun Strowman. You got Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins. You got a little more, with you got to think Enzo and Cass is going to have a program together. What is the dynamic of everything else? The biggest dumpster fire right now that Raw's got to kind of figure out is the women's division, because right now it is in a state of flux. That women's division on Monday Night Raw, there is so much of a mess on that end. They need to fix that ASAP. But 2, maybe 3 quality storylines going. You got The Miz and Dean Ambrose. They got a nice little storyline going. You got a lot of things going good for Raw, which is something that we haven't said in a long time, but you got things that you're building on. Like I said, the only thing that's really the dumpster fire at this is the women's division. Once you rectify that little problem, I think Monday Night Raw will be fine. Other than that, this was a very good show. They actually went back to basics. They went back to get the level of the love for everything to play out. And like I said, and it's starting to work. It's starting to click again. I think what it was last week, they just was like, you know what? Let's just throw this one away. This was a bad show. We know this was going to be bad. Nobody's probably going to watch this. So I think that's why you saw a lot of people kind of threw their hand up and said, I quit on that one. They basically gave up on us, and that's why a lot of people were really ticked off at WWE. This time around, you could tell they were a lot more focused. They were a lot more excited. They wanted it to give you a good show, and in all places in Evansville. But hey, there's nothing more to say. They delivered it. It was a solid show. SmackDown Live, you got your work cut out, guys. But I can already tell you, SmackDown Live, there's a major dumpster fire on their end. But let me tell you, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon already said we are going to rectify that problem right at jump. So right at 8:00 tomorrow night on USA, that little dumpster fire that caused me to have to put the NSWF on my video last night. We're going to get that thing sorted out right at jump. So I can't wait for that. But no, very good job for Team Red. Definitely a lot more better than last week. 7.5 for me. Florio, go ahead.
I'm right there with you, MF. 7.5 out of 10. 8's a little bit of an overreach, but man, oh man. You basically said everything for me, MF, just about. I mean, when we think about what happened on this show tonight, I mean, wow, way more positives than negatives. I mean, last week, WWE basically phoned it in because, they were going head-to-head with Game 5 of the NBA Finals. They obviously didn't have the balls to go head-to-head with them, so that's why they threw the towel in last week. But this time around, oh my. The highlight of the night, no doubt about it, it was the ending segment. I mean, that was a legit great segment. The teasers of who did it, leading to the reveal that it actually was Cass, and then Cass's scathing promo. Cass was given the chance to sink or swim with his promo tonight, and he didn't disappoint. The promo work was really good and made sense. I have long said that if that team split, it would be because Cass gets upset with not being a success and always having to save Enzo's ass. And they used those exact points here, which made complete sense. Not only did Cass do great on the promo, but don't undersell Enzo's contributions, like MF said. From his look of confusion that it wasn't the revival, to his disbelief at seeing the footage of Cass setting up the fake attack, to the absolute heartbreak and tear when Cass admitted that it was him, it all worked. And now Cass will get his chance to be a single star, which he will be. With Big Show's involvement, I feel they will use him to work with Cass like he did with Braun Strowman in order to prepare a new giant to climb the ranks. Fight of the night, no doubt about it. It was Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns. 3.5 stars. Very good match overall. Joe survived Roman's signature stuff and was working with a great sense of urgency. I was worried that they would derail Joe there, but thankfully it did not happen. I would have preferred a clean win, but Joe winning and the Braun return to set up the Great Balls of Fire match worked well. Plus, they've done a great job of building Joe's Coquina clutch. So that's all I can say there. And then the Miz TV segment I felt was, I felt that was really good too. I mean, I liked it. I mean, the heel still got humiliated, allowing Ambrose some payback for losing his title, but Miz also got one up on him on the end, outsmarting him and getting an entourage to protect him, which should play well into Miz's act. And also, Dallas and Axel desperately needed something to do outside of being main event on Hulu mainstays. That was a good segment overall. The Cruiserweight match. I mean, that was a solid Cruiserweight match. Akira Tozawa and TJP. That was a solid 2 3/4 stars. The Rollins and Wyatt segment, way better than last week. I mean, that's all I know there. And a very good tag team match with the Hardys and Anderson and Gallows. They were given a lot. They put up much more, and Anderson and Gallows put up much more of a fight than they usually get. And the win likely gets the Hardys another shot at Sheamus and Cesaro. And then the opening segment. That was a very good opening segment with Reigns embracing the heel vibe, as he should. Joe was great again. The short brawl had great fire. But I am kind of getting sick and tired of guys declaring that they get title matches and such. If you're going to torture us with on-air authority figures, at least use them properly. But Reigns did come off well as the delusional / entitled heel. So that's really all I can say there. So 7.5 to 8 out of 10, no doubt about that. I mean, that was a very good Monday Night Raw, far and away better than that god-awful show we had to sit through last week. But Evansville, well done, my friends. That's all I can say there. And Great Balls of Fire taking very nice shape now, as we now have Brock Lesnar against Samoa Joe for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns against Braun Strowman in an ambulance match, which I think we're all in agreement that's finally going to be the blow off there, no doubt about it. We can definitely add Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt to the mix. Enzo and Cass obviously is going to get added now. An intercontinental match with Miz and Ambrose. Don't be surprised if they add that to the mix. And probably Sheamus and Cesaro against the Hardys one more time for the tag titles. Adrian Neville against Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight title. I think that's going to get added. And whatever they decide to do with the women, which at this point, unless they do something to Willy Wow us, I really don't give two craps about it. So that's all we can say there. So you got your work cut out for you for once. So let's see if I know they'll answer the call, but they always do. So, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Right now, it's Tony's Take time. We got 205 Live, and we started it off with a matchup: Cedric Alexander against Arya Daivari. Cedric Alexander wins it in 6 minutes and 55 seconds with a lumbar check. 2 3/4 stars. Pretty good match overall, with Daivari showing more of a mean streak and aggression compared to past performances. And I have no idea why they're continuing the angle with Alicia Fox and Noam Dar, way past the expiration date on me. And then this was the big segment here. Austin Aries. It was dubbed as Austin Aries' career reevaluation. And he says, I'm happy. He says he was happy to be there, and he's worked hard to be a champion. He thought after Extreme Rules that he would be the champion, but he didn't get the job done, and it's okay. There were questions about his future, and he says, well, I have a leg injury. I'm also battling a neck injury. I'm not medically cleared to wrestle. Tony Nese would interrupt, and then Nese basically cuts a heel promo, and then Jack Gallagher comes in, and Gallagher and Nese just go at it. So Aries gave us some answers, and he'll be gone for a bit. It also appears that we're getting Nese and Gallagher moving forward, which I think can be a solid program. So all in all, it served its purpose. And then the main event, well, we actually saw this on 205 Live. Akira Tozawa against TJP, and Akira Tozawa also won that match in 11 minutes and 17 seconds. I thought this match was a smidgen better than the Raw match tonight. This was a 3-star match. That was a very good main event with Tozawa keeping momentum and looking to be on a collision course with Neville. And it was a match that, while good, desperately needed to kick into a higher gear to play better off of the skills of both men. So overall thoughts, 7 out of 10. I'm going to round it up to 7 out of 10. I was leaning towards 6 3/4, but it's more like 7 out of 10 for me. A better show than last week for sure. They gave us some answers to Aries' situation. They set up 2 matches for next week, and they also continued to build to Tozawa and Neville. and it also felt like they are going to try and reboot TJP. So yeah, next week, Mustafa Ali. Well, I think we got our card for next week. Mustafa Ali is going to go up against Drew Gulak. Tony Nese is going to fight Jack Gallagher. And it was also announced that Rich Swann, I believe Rich Swann's going to be in action next week. So that's all I can say there. Michael Bullock has just joined us. So I'm going to hold off on the Impact Wrestling review for the moment, as I just wrapped up 205 Live. Michael Bullock, come on in, Phenom. Let's get your thoughts on Monday Night Raw tonight. We got to catch you up on the show here. Just give me a moment while I do that. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. Got so caught up in my Tony's take there. All right. Of course, MF and I both agreed this was a much better Raw than last week, and we started it off with that in-ring segment. Roman Reigns making the announcement for SummerSlam that he wants the Universal Championship, and then Samoa Joe comes out, all hell breaks loose. So, Bullock, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was a good segment to start off this edition of Monday Night Raw, and like you said, I mean, this was Reigns saying he wants the Universal Championship. Well, Samoa Joe had a quick rebuttal on that, and like you said, all hell broke loose. So, yeah, certainly this was a good way to set the tone for Monday Night Raw. So let's move on to the next or first match, I should say.
And it was the Hardys going up against Anderson and Gallows. The Hardys won the match in 10 minutes and 35 seconds. And with the Hardy wins, you know what that means, Bullock? Greetings
for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
But MF already did the obsolete song, so we're all set on that. So your thoughts?
Yeah, and let's just say the Hardy Boys deleted those absolute mules. As far as the match goes, I'll give it about 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. I mean, I thought it was a good match here. I mean, yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, especially with Gallows and Anderson against them, and I thought they held their way against the Hardys, but in the end, it was the Hardys that came through. So 2.5 to 3 stars. Let's move on.
Then we had an in-ring segment. Seth Rollins, I'm sure you heard the news, Bullock. Seth Rollins is going to be on the cover of the WWE 2K18 video game. He was then interrupted by Bray Wyatt, and, well, much better segment than what we had last week.
Oh, I agree. This was definitely a much better segment this week between the two than last week. And, yeah, I mean, Seth Rollins is going to be gracing the cover of the new WWE 2K18 video game, and boy, I certainly cannot wait for it to come out. And Bray Wyatt interrupts, and yeah, I think eventually, we're gonna get a match between the two at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. So yeah, so nothing else for me to say except let's move on.
And then we had a cruiserweight match. Akira Tozawa went up against TJP. Akira Tozawa won the match in 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Yes, there was a tope suicida during the match, and Tozawa wins it. So a much better week for the cruiserweights than last week, Bullock, as Akira Tozawa beats TJP, and it definitely looks like he's the next in line for Neville.
Oh yeah, definitely a much better match for the cruiserweights this week than last week. So I think this was another 2.5 to 3 star match. Yeah, and I think Akira Tozawa is going to be next in line for a shot at the Cruiserweight Championship. So yeah, so there's nothing else to say. I'm just going to move on.
And what a match we had here, Bullock. Samoa Joe against Roman Reigns. Samoa Joe won the match 18 minutes and 5 seconds to 18 minutes and 10 seconds with the Coquina clutch. Off a distraction by, guess what, Bullock? He's back. Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman challenges Roman Reigns it's official, Bullock, at Great Balls of Fire, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, one more time in an ambulance match.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, this was the fight of the night here. I'm gonna give it 3.5 to 4 stars as my rating on the match, and this was a very good physical match between the two. And yep, the monster among men is back, and now they're gonna be facing each other at a Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view in an ambulance match. So, yep, these two aren't finished yet. So, yeah, nothing else for me to say except this was the fight of the night. So, Gloria, let's move on.
And then we had the Miz TV segment with Maurice as the guest, interrupted by Dean Ambrose. And Maurice got humiliated again, and she walks out on Miz again. But 2 men in bear costumes attacked Dean Ambrose, but they weren't 2 Hammerniggers. They were Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. Whoa, how about it? Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel actually being relevant for once.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought this was a fine segment for what it was here. And, yeah, I think it looks like Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are going to be, like, working with The Miz here. So, yeah, and poor Maurice gets humiliated again. So, yeah, nothing else to say. I'm just going to move on.
All right, then we had cutouts there. All right, and we're just gonna move on to the main event segment. Bullock, I already ran down the cutouts. I'm not gonna run them down again. It was Kurt Angle, the general manager. He came out and he said he was gonna get to the bottom of the Enzo and Cass mystery. He called out the Big Show. He called out the Revival. Big Show was offended, so he walked out, and then Angle said Revival was off the hook. They had solid alibis. But then Corey Graves obtained a security video of Big Cass, and Big Cass faked his own injury. And it turned out that Big Cass, yes, unfortunately, they decided to go with Big Cass attacking Enzo. It was Big Cass who did it. He's turned heel. What a heel promo. And I just said it, one of the best singles heel turns I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, this was definitely the segment of the night here. And, yeah, I mean, all we can say is, I mean, yeah, Big Cass, turns out he was the one behind it. And, well, Florio, I hate to say it, but it's the end of an era. And,
yeah,
no more of doing our shtick on Monday nights.
I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it too, but I think we knew eventually this was going to happen, and yep. And I wouldn't be surprised that at Great Balls of Fire we get Enzo Amore against Big Cass. So, yeah, so nothing else to say except let's move on to my overall thoughts on the show.
MF and I gave it between 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I don't know if you had it higher, lower, or what.
Yeah, an 8 out of 10. This was definitely a major improvement from last week's garbage fest from Monday Night Raw. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, I'm just gonna give it back to you for the rest of your Tony Steak.
And we move on to Impact Wrestling and week 2 of the India tapings, and not one but 2 pieces of history were made during this show. I'll tell you that right now. So we started it off with the 10-man gauntlet, the Sony 6 Invitational. Davey Richards, Mahabali Shera, Suicide, Swoggle, Moose, Eddie Edwards, Matt Seidel, Congo Kong, Spud, and KM. When all was said and done, it was the final 2 were Mahabali Shera and KM. Winner of the match in a total effort of 25 minutes and 10 seconds. Mahabali Shera, history made. Mahabali Shera, in his home country of India, wins the Sony 6 Invitational. He celebrates with his father and brothers in the crowd for a nice feel-good moment. He got the trophy. He broke down. You could tell it meant a lot to him. And according to this was my second best fight of the night. Solid match that lost steam as it went along, but they did a nice job of continuing the established feuds during the bout. Also a great way to play to the crowd and reward Shera with something going over a guy that is doing nothing on the roster. And it also didn't disrupt any current angles. So well done. Ethan Carter III, another one of his silly segments, brings out some guy named E Sing 3. Okay. And then James Storm interrupts, and well, not a bad segment. It had its moments early, and they got some good reactions from the crowd. But similar to the opening match, it lost steam the longer it went on, but did a solid job of continuing EC3 and Storm without burning a match of major physical or major physical altercations, saving something for Slammiversary. And Josh Matthews had an in-ring exhibition. Yeah, no rating to a dud here. He went up against some dude named Sandeep Takhan, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Started out as a good little segment to get some heat on Matthews, but took a turn for the bad when they got Bobby Lashley and Alberto El Patron involved. By doing that, it shows that Impact feels that the Matthews and Borash angle is the biggest deal of it all. And Lashley and Patron, the guys looking to unify world championships and become the top men in the business, should be nowhere near this angle. Simply sends the wrong message, even if Lashley and Matthews have had a loose affiliation in the past. Trevor Lee against Braxton Sutter. Braxton Sutter won it in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. No rating to a dud. Short with solid action. They've done a great job of taking Lee from champion to jobber in almost record time, which is very disappointing. And then there was an in-ring segment with Moose and Eli Drake. Yeah, bland promo segment to set up a pay-per-view match. I appreciate the purpose, but can't exactly call it good. But this is what I want to get into. The main event of the evening, X Division Championship on the line. Low key, Sanjay Dutt, winner of the match in 16 minutes and 25 seconds. And the new X Division champion, Sanjay Dutt. At long last, Sanjay Dutt gets his moment and gets it in his home country of India. Fight of the night. 3 stars, though. They had a good match, but it just lacked several things to make it great. It lacked intensity. There was no real Shakespearean drama down the stretch. They never locked into that classic X Division high gear. And Key missed a huge opportunity to play into the pro Dutt crowd, and he could have been a douche during that, and attacked the eye. But while good, I felt it was a bit disappointing / underwhelming. But nonetheless, Sanjay Dutt got his moment. I'm very happy for that. He was far and away the best guy to never win the X Division title. Well, scratch that. Not anymore. So 6 out of 10 for the show. It was a slight improvement over the previous week's effort. Few solid things to build a Slammiversary. Some matches announced for next week. And Dutt's long-awaited X Division title win. This was a solid but unspectacular show, if I'm being quite honest. So even with those 2 history-making moments for the home countrymen of Shera and Dutt, I felt it could have been better. So really all I can say there. So, all right, another week of action in Mumbai, India. And here's what we have on the next edition of Impact Wrestling. It's going to start with Sanjay Dutt. And Sanjay Dutt, he has his big moment, his big championship celebration. And watch out for Low Key, and they're going to set up something. They're going to set up something special for Slammiversary, and I can't wait to see this. Swoggle and Spud nonsense. Yeah, get that out of here. Knockouts tag team match. Laurel Van Ness and Global Force Women's Champion Sienna against Knockouts Champion Rosemary and Allie. Mahabali Shera one-on-one with KM. And then they had a Sony 6 X Division Invitational Elimination match. Matt Sydal, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, Braxton Sutter, Suicide, Trevor Lee. I heard this got rave reviews. This is something you got to see on Thursday night. Promo segment, Eli Drake and Chris Adonis. I'm not going to mess with that. And then the main event, tag team matchup, Global Force world champion Alberto El Patron and Cowboy James Storm against TNA heavyweight champion Bobby Lashley and Ethan Carter III. And that's it. So Sanjay Dutt celebration, Swoggle Spud nonsense, Laurel Van Ness Sienna, Rosemary Alley knockout tag match, Shira against KM, Sony 6 X Division Invitational elimination bout, a Drake and Adonis promo interrupted by Moose, and then El Patron and James Storm against Lashley and EC3. There's your show for this week. So Thursday night, 8 p.m., Pop Television. Check it out. And that's it. So that puts the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to do our shout-outs now. So Bullock or MF, whoever wants it first, it's yours, fellas.
All right, I'm going to lead off first. Thank you so much to all the great fans out there for making the show as amazing as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. Special shout-out to all the super fans out there, to my friends in the junior high and high school days, and to the 2184 crew. Tomorrow night is another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk on Braves Fan 95 SmackDown Live. We got a lot to cover on SmackDown Live. The fallout from Money in the Bank. Of course, we're also going to have some big news coming out of Lucha Underground, and maybe we might have some Ring of Honor stuff. I don't know for sure, but until then, 10 o'clock Eastern time on Braves Fan 95. So please note the start, 10 p.m. tomorrow night. So until then, Mike Fletcher, Jose and Pounds, I'm out. Have a good night. Michael Blick, it's all yours.
All right, of course. Well, thank you so very much for tuning in for another edition of of Ridiculously Raw. So, yeah. So of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or the Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports. It doesn't matter. We thank you so very much for tuning in. Of course, shout outs to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. And shout outs to of course all of our friends from high school days. You guys know who you are. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So yeah, so until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up, talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy your night, everyone. So Florio, take us home.
Yeah, we'll do, Bullock. Of course, special shout-outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Extra special shout-out to Dee Dee Woodson. Unfortunately, couldn't be with us tonight due to taking ill, migraine headache. She couldn't join us this evening. She hopes to be with us tomorrow night, but we'll find out soon enough if she'll be with us for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But so special shout-out and prayers of recovery to Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson and the Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hickson-Bar, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, the crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, and Rob Parsons, and I'll say the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night, of course. Like MF said, tomorrow night, immediately following SmackDown Live, over on his channel, Braves Fan 95, we will have the Cerebral Smack Talk. What will the fallout be for Money in the Bank? How will Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon address the women's Money in the Bank controversy? All I know is it better be damn good. That's all I'm going to say, or else we're going to go off again. That's all I'm going to say. So you guys have been warned. So that's and then we'll see what else happens out of that. And of course, Mikey's mindset, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, some other things. So that all goes down at 10 immediately following SmackDown Live, and then Friday night 10:30 Strictly Sports. As expected, guys, it will be our NBA draft recap show. So it'll be all about the NBA draft. No Noggin Diva nonsense, and there will be, and also no Major League Baseball power rankings. So a power ranking free show, so we don't have to antagonize over who's number 1, who's number 5, who's number 10. No, at least for 1 week, we won't have to worry about that. So our team by team, grade by grade NBA draft recap, just like we did with the NFL draft some time ago. So we're going to have that for you on Friday night. And then And then next Monday night, another edition of Ridiculously Raw. As we draw closer to Great Balls of Fire, it'll be in LA at the Staples Center. Brock Lesnar's back. Yep. We will have the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar in the house. So let's see what happens with him and Joe this time around. So, all right. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk, it's Ridiculously Over Gentleman Anthony Florio here. For Good Old MF Michael Fletcher. For the Phenom Michael Bullock. And in spirit, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. And the Hardcore Pipe Bomb himself, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up what you for style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk over on MX Channel Race Fan 95, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.